Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss about JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, that is popularly known as Iran nuclear deal. So this deal has been in news presently because on 8th May 2018, US President Donald Trump announced that USA is withdrawing from this deal. Now you should know that this deal is not just between Iran and USA, it is a deal which has been signed between Iran and P5+1, that is permanent 5. P5, permanent 5 members of UN Security Council, plus 1 refers to Germany and European Union. So all these are parties to the deal. So this deal which came on 14th July 2015. So this deal was signed in Vienna on 14th July 2015 between all these parties, amongst all these parties, and the deal came after 20 months of formal negotiations. So the points under this deal which Iran has agreed to adhere to are these 8, which we'll see. And in return of this, what has been assured to it is that in return for verifiably abiding by its commitments, Iran will receive relief from US, European Union and UN Security Council nuclear-related economic sanctions. So this is what the deal is all about. So the 8 points which Iran has to adhere to are listed down here. Number 1, it would eliminate its stockpile of medium enriched uranium. What is this medium enriched uranium? Cut its stockpile of low enriched uranium by 98%. Even what is this? We'll discuss it. Then reduce by about 2/3 the number of its gas centrifuges for 13 years. For the next 15 years, Iran will not build any new heavy water facility. What is heavy water also we'll see. For next 15 years, Iran will only enrich uranium up to 3.67%. So what is uranium enrichment also we'll discuss. Uranium enrichment activities will be limited to a single facility using first generation centrifuges for 10 years. Other facilities will be converted to avoid proliferation risks. Also, to monitor and verify Iran's compliance with the agreement, IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, will have regular access to all Iranian nuclear facilities. So now what has happened is that USA has announced withdrawal from this Iranian nuclear deal on 8th May. But before that, the development which took place was that in October 2017 itself, US President Donald Trump had announced that US will not make the certification provided for under US domestic law. So US domestic law means the law in the country requires USA to certify after every interval that Iran is adhering to the deal. So US president was not ready to certify this, so the deal would fall apart hence, but his administrators convinced him and he went ahead with the certification reluctantly. So then that was the first straw which we saw in this case. Then in April 2018, US and Israel stated that Iran did not disclose a past covert nuclear weapons program to the IAEA, which it was required to according to this 2015 deal. So again, they were raising their voice against Iran in the deal to make the deal fall apart. Then in March 2018, IAEA director stated that the organization had verified that Iran was implementing its nuclear related commitments. So IAEA has clearly stated Iran is following the deal. But still, President Donald Trump has now announced that US would withdraw from the agreement. So though he says that this agreement is not good enough and there should be better provisions, stricter norms for Iran, but then this is a deal which has come through negotiations after 20 months of negotiations. So this is the best which could be arrived at through negotiations. So both sides have to come to a common ground. So without coming up with any better alternative, withdrawing from this deal has imposed its own dangers, because Western powers are also been trying to convince Donald Trump that this is the best deal which is working. It's a workable deal. So if this deal falls apart, as Iranian leader Mr. Rouhani has also stated that this deal will go ahead as it is, with all the parties part of it. So if this deal falls apart, then Iran may also start developing its nuclear technology and probably nuclear weapons, and that may be a situation going out of hand. So that is the fear here. So let's see, but presently this is the case. So these are the provisions of the deal which are detailed out here. You can go through them, which we just discussed. These are areas in Iran where nuclear development is taking place. So here each site, the nuclear site, the place where reactor is located, the uranium mines in Iran are shown here. So Tehran is the main nuclear research center of Iran, which is its capital too. Isfahan is the research reactor location where uranium conversion takes place. Then Bushehr, which is famously known as the pressurized water reactor, 1000 megawatts pressurized water reactor, which went online in September 2011, is located here. Then there's a heavy water reactor at Arak, etc. So reported uranium reserves of Iran are said to be 4,400 tons. And this is regarding UN Security Council, the P5 members which are part of part of Iran deal. So the permanent 5 are USA, Russia, UK, France and China. So these are the 5 permanent members. UN Security Council is like the executive body of UN, United Nations. So it has 15 members. 5 are permanent members. They do not change. They are always members, and they are members with veto powers. Means decision, if the decision has to be taken by majority, means out of 15, if 8 agree, it's a majority. But then a member, veto wielding member, means if any one of these 5 members also says no, then it's a veto. The decision cannot be gone ahead. So that each of these members has veto powers. There are talks for reforms in UN, but nothing has happened so far over the years. So India also wants a permanent seat in UN Security Council as such, along with Germany. So they had formed this G4 grouping as such too. So here you can see these are the 5 permanent members amongst the non-permanent members. So there are 10 non-permanent members. Each one has a 2-year term, and these seats are divided continent and area wise. So Africa gets 3 seats, Asia 2, Latin America, South America 2 seats, Western Europe and others 2 seats, and Eastern Europe gets 1 seat. So this is there. And this is mentioned, the Security Council has primary responsibility within the UN of maintaining international peace and security. It is the only UN organ that has the power to make decisions that member states are obliged to implement. Then next is regarding uranium enrichment. So uranium enrichment means the naturally occurring uranium is enriched. So uranium-238, the ore, has just 0.7% of uranium-235, the element which is used to make nuclear fuel or bombs. So this has to be enriched. So uranium enrichment, you can see, so this uranium hexafluoride gas enters into a centrifuge. So centrifuge is this machine which uses centrifugal force to separate out. So the lighter uranium-235 separates out and rises, and the denser uranium-238 sinks down and is extracted. So uranium-235, which is enriched gas, is sent to second centrifuge, and the process is repeated as such. So there's a cascade of centrifuges which are located here. So for civilian use, the proportion of uranium-235 which will be present in the fuel is around 4 to 5%. So this is fuel for nuclear power stations. But if you want to use for military purpose, then uranium enrichment should be of at least 90% to make a nuclear bomb. So how much enrichment takes place decides what is the purpose of this uranium as such. So this is the enrichment process. Then this here you can see, so same thing, natural uranium as we just discussed, 0.7% of U-35 is present in as such, and remaining is uranium-238. Low enriched uranium, which is used for nuclear reactors, 5% uranium enrichment. High enriched uranium, more than 20%, and even weapons grade uranium, more than 90%, is weapon usable uranium. Then there is another thing, heavy water plant also, which we just saw in the points, that Iran would not develop any more heavy water plants as such. So what is this heavy water? You should know. So water is H2O, heavy water is D2O. D stands for deuterium, which is an isotope of hydrogen. So the credit for discovery of heavy water goes to Urey, who first proved that 6,000 parts of ordinary water contain about 1 part of heavy water. So this heavy water has its usage in nuclear reactors. So this heavy water, deuterium oxide, is the natural form of water used to lower the energy of neutrons in the reactor. So it is heavier than normal water by about 10%. So it is also used as a moderator. Lowering the energy of neutrons in the reactor is what a moderator does, and also as a coolant to cool down. So heavy water is one of the most efficient moderators which are used in CANDU form of reactors. So here you can see the nuclear reactor is also shown, what a nuclear reactor looks like. So a nuclear reactor actually has a moderator as well as a coolant. So here you can see these are the control rods which are used. So the moderator, and these are the fuel pins as such, the fuel rods which are there. So the moderator is required too, and a coolant. So heavy water can be used as a moderator as well as a coolant. The detailed map is also, detailed image of nuclear reactor is also shown here, you can see. So reactor would consist of fuel rods, which are these enriched uranium rods, moderator, which will slow down the neutrons. So you can see they're inserted in between here. So these are the fuel rods and these are the moderator rods. These are the control rods as such. So control rods absorb neutrons. So they slow or stop the reaction. So absorbed neutrons is done by these control rods, and slowing down the neutrons is done by the moderator. And shielding, that is the thick concrete wall which surrounds it, the nuclear reactor. Then coolant, the nuclear energy is converted into heat. So this reactor core is cooled using water. So here you can see this is the water which is sent here. So coolant is also required. So cool down. And then heat exchanger is there that takes the heat to a turbine which will drive an electric generator, and nuclear reactor results in electricity generator. So that is the steam here which rotates the turbine. So that is it. Thank you.